with Mom's Creative Moments, and today I'm going to be continuing my series on tropical layouts with more photos from our Hawaii trip. This is this layout is going to show you how you can put together some really nice landscape collages. I have changed somewhat the way that I take my photos when I go to places that I really want to remember all of the scenery, rather than trying to get it all into one photo that I can maybe enlarge to see all the details. Many times I will just stand in one place and take several photos, all right next to each other with overlapping details, and that way I can print just 4x6 prints and then collage them together to make the whole scene. So that's what today's video is about. Let's go to my desktop and get started. Okay, here we are on my desktop, and I have to apologize, but once again I forgot at the very beginning of this video to turn on my microphone, and I did remember it about 7 minutes into this, so you won't have to listen to the odd sound for too long, and I'm sorry, but what you're looking at here is a combination of several photos that I have put together. I just used my permanent adhesive in a couple of places to as I assembled all these pictures together. What I had was this big long one that's just all single photos, depth together all the way across, and then I had a second one that went almost as long and mainly only showed me the top of the roof of that building that's kind of in the lower right hand area. And I just decided that because it kind of duplicated most of what was already in that top row of photos, I just eliminated all but those lower two left ones. And that way I had more room for other things on these two pages instead of duplicating everything. I did leave those two photos that I'm pointing at right there attached because they did extend the panorama across the top. And as you can see, I'm pointing out the fact that those two photos in my left hand are looking from the hotel at the ground floor up at that same tree that we were looking down at from our balcony. And then the photos on the right are looking out to the ocean from our balcony. So that we had a really, really nice room and just beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so these papers that I'm going to use are from the Tropic Time collection that just came out this January. They are tone on tone. And one is a little bit brighter than the other one, and I'm going to use the brighter one for some flowers and incorporate it with the peach colored paper, which you'll see as that comes up later in the design. But because we have so many photos that are going to be on this page, we really don't need a whole lot of paper to add to. So we're just going to do some borders. And we're going to add those borders probably across the bottom, since we have the big long panoramic that's going to go across the top. Then I also have this card from the Mat Pack that I'm going to use, and we'll probably use the custom cutting system to cut that into a circle a little bit later. But we'll set that over here just so that it's kind of out of the way. All right, so I think we are just about ready. She's just about ready to get started. Yep, so we're going to set those over to the side real quick because one of the first things I need to do is kind of decide what I want to reshape and what I want to just go ahead and leave looking kind of jagged, because often when you put photos together like this, they are jagged, and you can see that that top row of photos actually extends beyond the length of my two pages combined, so it's longer than 24 inches across, which means I'm going to need to trim it. And so we're going to have to go through the process of deciding what to eliminate. And I think I'm going to get rid of that balcony on the right and then a portion of that tree on the left. May take some of the hotel too. We're just going to have to kind of see where the measurements fall. And I'm grabbing my trimmer because, as you guys know, that's my right arm, and it's going to help me go ahead and trim up this photo so that it's nice and straight and it's within the parameters of my two 12-inch pages. So in just a second here, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to flip it upside down, and the reason is because the first piece I'm going to cut is that one on the right, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that balcony piece off because we don't really need to enjoy seeing the balcony, and actually it's in one of the other photographs that will go on the bottom of the page, so it's not really that important to me, and really that's what matters, right, is that we keep the photos that are important to us. So as I went to try to fit this on here, you can see that it would be very difficult to line it up and measure it and keep it straight, and oh my gosh, crazy town. So I'm going to grab one of those 12 by 12 pieces of paper that I just had in my hand and put it underneath the photo. It's going to support the photo, and it's also going to allow me a straight edge where I can line up the 12-inch mark to know just where to cut and how to keep it straight, so that when I put it on my pages, it will all be nice and lined up and it won't be crooked. Because that is a hazard when you go to do something like this, that you could cut it crooked and then it doesn't fit really nice. All right, so I almost did it again with the sound. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm forgetting to turn on my microphone, but that's what I did. So that beginning part, I'm going to have to do a voiceover for you. But okay, so as I was saying, I've lined this up with my piece of paper so that I can see where the 12-inch mark is, and I can keep the collage level as I trim it from this side. Okay, so you have to use these little tricks, and it looks like I should have pushed just a little harder, so give me just a second. I need to line this back up again so that I can cut that off. There we go. Okay, so what I may do is just go ahead and take this lower part off because we really don't need all of that. But that will be 12 inches. It'll go from one side of my page to the other. Exactly. Okay, now we're going to have these pages, which I need to secure a little bit better. They are not where they should be, so I'm just going to take my permanent adhesive and I'm going to just put it right on the photo. So that I can secure that down and keep those together. Okay, so now what I need to do is determine, I want to keep this edge the way it is because that's the edge that lines up with my cut edge in the center. So I'm going to grab my 12 by 12 piece of paper again and line it up so that I know where 12 inches is. And I can line up my photo edge to edge, just like that. Okay. All right, and now I can trim it right here and know that that is a 12-inch photo collage. Okay, now setting this aside but not too far away, because we are going to need it again shortly. I just want to visualize how this is going to look. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to want to trim it well, maybe I'll just leave that on there. This one will go down here. Okay, so knowing how your photos are going to lay out is half the battle when it comes to this kind of a layout, because you want to know where to put your color. So I won't be able to see any color if I put it here, really, because it's going to be underneath this huge band of photos. I will be able to see some if I put some at the bottom. So we could do a decorative border across the bottom, which might be all that we need, and maybe just some embellishments on the rest of the page. So I think that's probably what I'm going to go ahead and do, is just go ahead and do a decorative border across the bottom, and then we'll do some embellishing. Okay. So I'm going to use mainly this color as my base, and then we're going to make some flowers using a couple of the punches that I have on hand with this paper. I think that will give us more bang for our buck, because the darker colors will have more of a color pop on there. So I'm going to, let me see, I think we should do a fun edge to our border. So let me find a good border we can use for that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this border punch. This was one that recently came available for advisors. And so if you're an advisor, then you should be able to get this one. It's very cute with its double arches. And if you're not an advisor, contact your advisor or contact me, and we'll see what we can do for you. Okay, if they're still available, we may be able to get one for you. I can't remember the name of it just offhand, and I did not write it on here, so I apologize for that, but I'll look it up and put it in the description of the video so you can see it. All right, so let me just move these out of the way for a second while we do some technical work here. So I'm going to need my border maker, and I'm going to, oh, looks like I trimmed just a teeny bit off of that as I was cutting my photo. Oh well, it'll be okay because we're going to punch it. All right, so we're going to just punch both sides of this, and then we're going to trim the paper. So we're just going to go ahead and punch. So we have a pretty decorative edge. And I'm just going to flip my paper over while I've got my border maker handy, so I don't have to get it out twice. And I'm going to cut or punch another one of these. While I'm doing this, let me just mention, those of you who are watching, who are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. If you're not subscribed to my channel, would you go ahead and hit subscribe? I would love that. It would really help me out. And as it's been pointed out to me recently, if you don't ask, you don't get. So I am asking. I would really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel. It would really, really be a benefit to me and to my family. So I appreciate that. Thanks so much. Okay, so I'm going to take this paper. It actually looks really cool with that down both sides, but because of what we're doing on these pages and how we're going to lay this out, I'll just have to remember this for another time. Maybe we'll make some decorative, a decorative layout with that later on in this album. Who knows? Okay, grab your trimmer again. And we're going to just go ahead and measure 4 inches. I don't think we need a border that is more than 4 inches at this point. So we're going to just measure 4 inches and cut that off. I'm going to turn this around and measure 4 inches and cut it off. And we'll have a little bit extra for another time. We don't need to use all of our paper on one layout, right? Okay, so here we go. Next, what I'm going to do, as I'm thinking about it, is I think we need something decorative maybe along the edge of this border. So let me just check out the stickers that go with this collection. Let's see what we've got. See what I can add to there. So I've got, this collection has several very pretty 12-inch stickers. These were those green ones that we used on another layout for this album. And so obviously we can't use them now, but we could use these stickers along there. That might actually be really cute since it's kind of a similar shape. Or we could use the suns, which also would be cute along there, since this is a, you know, a brilliant sunny day. Actually, I kind of like the suns. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll use the sunshines. Okay, so the thing about the sunshines is there are these little tiny pop out circles. So we need to pop all of those out and not have them. And when I just took this off the sheet, they did not come off. So give me a second here. We've got to remove those. We're going to get all of those off, and then I will have them stuck all over my fingers, which will be a pain, but that's okay. They'll come off. Almost done. Okay. There we go. All right, so I'm going to just take this cute little sunshine border and put it right along the edge of this to give it just a little bit more color. Okay, and now I'm going to see if I can get, no, they just don't want to come off. Those circles, they come right with the sticker. So, that's okay. Bear with me. We have one more to get the circles popped out of. All right, and so this one, again, we're going to place right at the base of the punched area. This layout is going to be a fairly simple one, and I hope that that's helpful to you. Not every layout has to take, you know, hours to put together. And sometimes the most fun ones are the ones that we do very quickly. So this one is relatively quick, provided that you have your collages put together. So just using repositionable tape across, or adhesive across the basket weave that's at the top of this border. And then that way I don't have to stress about where the adhesive is going, right? All right, so now I'm going to Move those out of the way. Going to add this down here at the bottom, right on the edge, edge to edge. I always adhere the bottom edge of my paper first, and I find that the rest of it pretty much goes into place as long as I have the bottom edge lined up and the center. Okay, now these photos, oh, so we still have to do this one, but we'll get to that one in just a second. Looking at these photos, I need to trim this one just a little bit. This is 2 photos that I put together, but sometimes more than one collage makes your page look messy. So what I'm going to do is just even this up a bit so that my photo is a little bit straighter, which is going to be tricky because that palm tree is very, very tall. So here we go. Okay, so I want both sides to be relatively straight. So I'm just going to go back and cut just a little more so that that is a straight edge. Straight as I can make it. All right. So I like that better. I think it will look cleaner on my page. Right? Okay. All right, so there's that. And these 2 photos here go together fairly smoothly. They are fairly well aligned, so I don't think we need to do much with them. This picture up here on the top, I'm going to leave just the way it is because even though it curves around and is a little bit jagged, we'll add some embellishments over here, which will decrease the craziness of that. And I don't want to cut this off because then I lose all this pretty foliage over here. So we're not gonna mess with that one too much. Okay, so let me just put that back. Trying a new spot for my trimmer, and I don't know if I like it or not. So I may have to adjust that again. Cleaned my craft space the other day and thought, you know, I should move that. I think I might have been wrong. Okay, go away. All right, so let me go ahead and add this piece. To our layout. So again, line it up against the center jeeping with the bottom edge. You could use a brighter paper for this, but I really wanted the star of the show to be the foliage and the layouts of the landscape. So I really didn't want to take away from that by adding something super bright. We're going to add some flowers to it, which will help jazz it up just a little bit, but we really don't need a ton of jazz on this one because we have so much photography involved. Okay, before we adhere the rest of these photos, I'm going to go ahead and grab my custom cutting system and cut a circle out around this. Okay, so this is the large circle I'm using, and just centering that inside there. going to cut that out using using the green blade, and then that way I can cut another circle out of a complementing paper to mat it. So we're going to go all the way around with the green blade. Okay. And put the green blade away. And I'm going to grab my red blade, and we're going to use this brighter paper with the flowers on it, and I'm going to cut a circle with my red blade. And then that will fit right inside there. Perfect. All right, now before I put this paper away, we are going to punch a few flowers. Okay, so I'm going to use our Mandevilla, I think it's Mandevilla flower punch. This gives you two different punches, so it's twice as nice, as they say. So you get this outside punch, and this is the first time I've used this punch, so I've got a little bit of oil coming off onto my paper, but so you get the outside punch and the inside punch. And then what you can do is you can flip over the inside. Sometimes, depending on the paper that you use, it would look really great to put that inside the other. Sometimes you just have to experiment and use different papers together. So I'm just going to punch a few of these. Let me punch one more because we need an odd number. Okay. Now I'm going to grab the orange, or the peachy color that we had left, and I'm going to use some of those as well. So you notice that this first one, I have some discoloration around the edge. That is from the oil in the punch that is used to lubricate the punch. And it's usually will go away, but just in case it doesn't, I usually will punch with my punches once or twice on some scrap paper. I just didn't realize that I hadn't done that yet with this one. And so I do that so that that oil, if there is any, and there isn't always, you don't always have an oil issue with the punch, but occasionally you do. And it does go away after. As you can see, these other punches that I've done don't have it, so no worries there. Okay, so I'm also going to use this punch, which is an older one called the Cherry Blossom Punch. So if you have this one in your arsenal, and mine is a little bit, see how it keeps sticking? That's because it's lost that lubricant. So we're going to try it and see if I can get it to cooperate and cut some cherry blossoms for me, because this punch is perfect for outlining this one. Makes a really, really cute little tropical flower. Just like that. So we're going to layer those. Let me just get my punch to cooperate. It punches really well, it just gets stuck. Do you have any that do that? Just older punches. If you've used them, and you should use them, they sometimes get this way. All right, so I've got 5 of those. And what I might do is go ahead and punch just a couple of these using this one so that I can use the centers mainly. So I guess the point that I'm trying to show you here with these is even if you run out of embellishments, if you've purchased embellishments and you've run out of them, you can make your own, which is what I'm doing today, mostly just because I wanted to play with my punches. Okay, so just going to set that aside. Set that aside. Let me grab some adhesive. Gonna set this in place. Actually, I do have quite a few embellishments for this collection still, but I love these punches and I just wanted to try them. So thanks for bearing with me and letting me try them. Okay, I just tore that one, but I think I can still use it. Let's see. Got a little bit crazy with my adhesive. You do have to be kind of careful. This paper can be delicate. Our garden of mandevilla flowers. I wonder if they have mandevilla flowers in Hawaii. I know hibiscus is the state flower, and these obviously are not hibiscus, but they are tropical. They look tropical to me, so that's why I'm using them. Plus, this is the punch that came out with Tropic Time, so it works. All right, so then we'll use these smaller pieces that came from the inside of the flower to accent as well. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to set my repositionable adhesive over there while we get our collages secured. Okay, so I did not even out the top of this collage. Sometimes I do that, other times not so much. As you're putting adhesive on here, I find it helpful to add some adhesive to the joints where the photos come together. Just sort of stabilizes everything a bit better, and makes it much easier to put it down on your page. Notice I'm using the Creative Memories natural pages. I know a lot of people have their own opinions about whether they like or don't like the natural pages. I actually prefer them. So I know I'm in the minority with that, but I prefer to use the natural pages as my base pages in my family albums. All right, there's that. I prefer it because, especially for an album like this, that it has a lot of, it's going to have a lot of beach and ocean photos. feel like it adds to the color scheme that I'm using without me having to add paper, which is kind of nice. And I don't have to add quite so much, which is also nice. All right, so we're going to add just a couple of flowers in there. Maybe add a couple of these guys. I don't know. We'll come back to that in a minute. This is our happy place. We'll put down here, but let's get these adhered first. And I was going to cut off that little leg that's right there, but changed my mind. I feel like it adds to the layout, the cohesion of both sides, to keep that on there. So I'm going to leave that on there. Okay. Now I'm going to put this together, put my pages together, make the jeeping line up. There we go. That way I can make my pages go where they need to go. Okay, so just like so. Okay, notice I'm not putting the photo right to the edge of my paper. It's nice when you allow a little bit of that background that you put on there to show through. So that's what I'm doing there. And I am just going to overlap these photos just a little bit so that we create more of a focal group, a grouping down here. Okay, and then we'll put a couple of flowers up here. I might need some little flowers in a different print. Something to consider. Let me see. I do have this one from the other day. Let's punch some of these out of this strip. That flower actually works, except it's cut off just slightly. Same thing with that one. But if we could use that one in there. We could have this one kind of going off off the page. Put that in. Let's see, where did our peachy one go? You could add that peach color in the middle, maybe. Something to consider. This one over here would need to go in the middle of these two, because I ended up kind of trimming some of that color off. Maybe like that. Okay, where did this go? Here it is. All right, so we need our, or this is our happy place. I can put that right there and add the remaining flower. To it. Something like that maybe. Or maybe more than one over here on this side. And then this down here I can journal all about the hotel. All right. So I'll get all the rest of this adhered, but I think that's the way it's going to end up looking. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Sorry about the glare on these photos over here on this side. There, how's that? A little bit easier to see. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a fairly quick layout to put together, and I hope that it has helped you in your pursuit of your pages. I'm giving you some ideas and of quick pages that you can put together, and of different ways that you can take pictures so that you can create different types of spreads in your albums. So until next time, I do hope that you have many more creative moments. You have a great day. Thanks for joining me.